welcome to our Crazy Life Scotland. My name's Fiona, and in today's craft and chat I am going to make these gorgeous bottle stoppers that I was kindly gifted by Beebeecraft. I will link the haul which I unboxed these if you've not seen it before. Now they're both identical, they're both little doggies, they look like little labs and they are just gorgeous. So I am going to try them a couple of different ways today. Before I get into that, I just want to say thank you to Beebeecraft for gifting me these, and the links to the Beebeecraft website and to this product will be in the description below, and also my 10% off discount code. So if you see anything you fancy, please feel free to use that, which is in the description below as well. And I will also have the link to the Beebeecraft YouTube program, so that if you want to take part and you've got more than 100 subscribers on YouTube, you could also get free gifts from Beebeecraft to show all your lovely viewers. Just click the link in the description below. Right, let's get into this. The plan is, for one of them, I want to use a nice gold mica powder. So I'm going to try this gold mica powder. So it's going to be like a golden lab. Because of the shape of the mould, you can't turn it inside out to paint on the actual mould. So I'm just going to mix the gold mica in with the resin. And I'm hoping to stop the gold sort of at the dog's paws and then make the rest black. So that's going to be one of them. And this one I'm going to try using, keeping the resin clear, but using these little balls which I got in a previous Beebeecraft haul as part of a different kit. I thought it might be quite nice to fill it up with these just to see what it ends up looking like. So I'm going to use these for the second one. Because they are relatively easy to knock over and I am very clumsy, I am going to keep them just in these little tubs when I pour them, just in case, because I know what I'm like. Right, I have got my resin mixed up. This is J. Dixon resin, and I have mixed up 70 mils, and I've got no idea how much it's going to take. So what I want to do is, does anyone else clean their silicone cups when they're finished with them, but then when you go to use them they're dirty again? Bear with me, I'm going to clean this up and then I'm going to pour the resin in here. I'll come back to you then. So now I have a clean cup to pour some resin into. I don't know how much I'm going to use. I think I put maybe about 30 mils or something in there. Maybe I put 35 actually. I think I maybe split it. I'm now going to take some of this gold mica powder. I believe I got this from Temu, and I've not used this one before. It came in a pack of 6 different golds, so I thought I would give this a go. So I'm just using my lollipop stick to put some in. I've got no idea how much I'm going to want, so I start with a little-ish. Give that a mix in and then decide whether I need any more. Remember, when you're mixing your mica powders, you don't want to introduce any bubbles, so try to do it relatively slowly and make sure you scrape the sides and the bottom so there's no powder left. And then every now and again I just sort of lift some out on my stick to see if I think I've got enough or whether I need more. And in this case I need more. Never mind the stick, just dump it in. That's my philosophy. There we go. Maybe a bit much, we'll find out. Here we are after another good mix and a change of light angle. Let's have a look to see whether we think we're happy with it. Yeah, I think so. Now we are going to start pouring. And again, I'm going to pour quite slowly, and I don't want to pour it all at once because there's a lot of little nooks and crannies in this mould. So I want to make sure that I give it a little squidge and a squeeze to make sure that the resin coats all of the areas and all of the little nooks and crannies, so that there's no big bubbles left at any of the angles in the head. We don't want bubbles in the head, definitely not. So once I've done that, I'm going to pour another small amount in. Again, nice and slowly, let's not introduce too many bubbles if we can help it. This isn't the kind of mould that you can put a flame like a long neck lighter into to pop bubbles, so we need to try to be careful. And I'm just lifting it up and having another look. You can see me squidging and squeezing again there, especially any areas where there's little sort of, I don't want to say nooks and crannies again, but any nooks and crannies, any areas that the resin needs help to flow into, shall we say. And I'm having a look just now to see whether I've reached the pause yet, and I haven't. So I'm going to pour a little bit more in. I'm going even slower this time because I know that I'm quite near the pause and I don't want to over pour it. So I'm just doing it pretty much a drop at a time and keeping a little eye on the levels as I go. I know you can't really see from this angle where the level of the resin is, but I can from my angle. Time for another check to see whether we have enough. So I'm going to lift the resin up slightly, have a little look at it, and moving it about to make sure that, again, it's in, because there's little bulges where the paws are, and I want to make sure the resin gets right into those and doesn't just sort of sit at the side of it or form a bubble. So another little squidge and a squeeze. I'm fairly happy with the level of the resin, and what I'm doing just now, I'm just giving it a little dunt, so that's a technical term, a dunt, so that any air bubbles that might be in there just rise to the top. There must have actually been a little pocket of air somewhere because the resin has dropped ever so slightly, so I'm just adding another little drop. It's not really possible to just get the paws and not the rim round about them, so I decide to just sort of fill that rim a little bit as well. You'll see what I mean when it comes to unmoulding it, demoulding it, what I actually mean with the level. So another little squidge, make sure that the paws are all nice and filled, that there's no air bubbles. You know the drill by now. Just make sure we're happy with it. I also want to make sure the mould is sitting level in my little cup, and then I just put that one off to the side. As you can see, I've actually got quite a bit of resin left in there. I think that maybe took about 20 mils altogether, and that was all, which is fab. Don't worry, I do put the extra resin in a different mould so it doesn't get wasted. We don't waste any resin here. Then we're ready to go on to the second one. So I pour some of my resin into another cup because if I am going to have spare resin left over, I don't want to have little balls in it because I don't have another mould I want to put the balls in. So I think, right, okay, I'll put about 20 mils in at first because I know that the balls will take up space and I probably won't need quite as much resin in this one as I did in the other one. So here we go. What I want to do first, I want to coat the bottom of the bottom of the mould with some of the clear resin before I put any balls in, and that's basically, again, just to stop any bubbles. I just make sure that the bottom is coated. Plus, I don't want any balls sticking to the bottom of the mould and no resin getting underneath it, because that would make an awful mess when you demould it. There would be a bit of ball sticking up. That sounds very wrong, but you know what I mean. So I just put a small amount in and just roll it around a bit to make sure that most of the head is coated with just a small amount of clear resin, not an awful lot. And another little squidge and a squeeze. I love doing that with these moulds. I'm happy with that, so it's time to turn our attention to putting the balls in. I move the spare resin out of the way because I know what I'm like. Move the mould out the way as well. And let's have a look at what colour balls I'm going to put in here. Honestly, I love all the colours, so it really doesn't bother me. There's a few colours that I would quite like to keep for a different project, so I just randomly put some in, and I have got no idea at this point how many balls it is going to take. But I'm starting to realise, yep, it's going to be a lot. So yeah, all I'm doing here is opening different colours and popping them in at a wee bit at a time. And once I think I've got enough, I will start giving them a little stir. Right, let's give these a stir and see how many are here and how many I might need still to add. And it's important to make sure that they are all coated in resin and they are going to introduce bubbles. There's no getting away from it. When I'm stirring it, there's going to be a lot of bubbles introduced and we just need to remember that. But there's nowhere near enough balls yet, so I go ahead and add some more. I will speed this bit up for you. I think I'm happy with this, but bear in mind, I've never done anything like this before. I've seen other people doing it, but I've never tried it. So I think that's enough, and I'm just going to go with it. And now I think, oh, how am I going to do this without making a mess? If you know me, you know I'm good at making a mess. So I decided to just take my silicone tool, and rather than pouring it in, I know it's not a very great angle, sorry about that, I'm basically just scooping it in a way, very slowly, very gently, trying not to make a mess. And to be honest, for once, I didn't make too much of a mess. I did take my time and made sure that it all went in the tiny little hole. Right, time to start putting it in and lift it up and have a look to see how we're getting on. Now obviously I will need to help these balls get into all the little, wait for it, nooks and crannies. And yeah, because there's a lot of little areas there that the balls could easily like not go into without a bit of help. And I want to have them as close together and in all the little bits as possible. So I have a squidge and a squeeze, and then I go in with my silicone tool, just making sure that the balls are in the little nose and the ears, all those little areas. So yeah, it's worthwhile just taking a little bit of time to do that. And then we'll have a look to see what level we're at. And I think at this point we're really just at the head still, so a little bit further to go. It's maybe worth pointing out as well that when I'm sort of scooping it in, I'm trying to make sure that I've got an equal number of balls and resin. I don't want to scoop a lot of resin in at once, and I don't want to scoop a lot of balls in at once. You know what I mean? Just trying to keep it as even as possible. Right, time for another squidge and a squeeze and check the level. I did notice that some of the little balls had stuck to the neck of it, and sort of areas further up where I didn't want them. So I was squeezing the top of the mould downwards to try to encourage the balls to go down. I don't know why I didn't just use my silicone tool. That would probably have been easier in hindsight, but that's what I was doing. Oh, here we go. Well done, Fiona. And again, just making sure that they're pushed into all of the little corners. There's not any like really sharp corners or anything in this mould. It is lovely that way, but you still want to make sure. And I'm still needing more, so in I go again. Right, I have run out of resin and balls, and I have still got a bit of space, so I give it a little spritz with alcohol just to sort of calm any surface bubbles that are there, and I realise actually I forgot to do that with that one, so I've done it anyway. Just resin, alcohol is a good way of getting rid of any little surface bubbles that are there. So I'm just going to make up some more resin and balls just the same way as I did earlier on. I'm happy with the amount I've got in my mould now, so I decide to give them both another little spritz of alcohol in a second, just to again get rid of any surface bubbles. Then I put them on my heat mat for a couple of hours so that they semi-cure before I do the next step. I'll see you soon.
Later.
And I'm back with some more mixed up resin. Now these aren't fully set. I didn't want them to be fully set. I just want them hard enough so that the next layer will sit on top nicely. If you let it fully set, sometimes you can get a weird line between the two layers. So I try to do it while it is still sort of semi-solid, if you like. I have mixed up a lot more resin than I'll actually need, but that's because I've got other projects that I'm doing as well. So I just pour some of it into a little mixing cup. I don't need a lot at all. I reckon I'll maybe need about between 5 and 10 mils in each. I've decided that I want to do just both of them a plain black, so I'm just going to put a tiny amount of this black pigment into the resin. You really don't need a lot, and it is a small amount of resin that I've got there anyway. And again, I'm going to use my little stick to give it a good mix up. See how quickly it goes very, very black, so you need to be careful with that. And again, make sure you get it off the sides and the bottom and that it's all thoroughly mixed through. You don't want any clear streaks in your black. And then you can just lift a little bit out to check how opaque it is and whether you're happy with it, which in this case I was. So I'm going to start with my Golden Lab, and it really is just a case of pouring it in. Again, very, very slowly. Make sure your mould is nice and level, and just be very, very careful. Try not to make a mess, Fiona. But wait, I suddenly decide that I should spritz another little bit of alcohol in the top of both of them, just to sort of break up the surface tension before pouring in the black. So here we go. Again, very careful, try not to make a mess. I want to get it right up to the top as much as I can without going over. And it's not something I'm very good at, but I didn't do too badly this time. Let's have a little look. A very gentle squidge and a squeeze this time so that I don't make it overflow. And yeah, just making sure that it is everywhere that I want it. Being careful not to break the seal down the side of the already set resin, because you don't want black to run all the way down there. That wouldn't be nice. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and pour this into my other mould now. Will I have enough? Will I? Have I judged it? Place your bets now. Nope, I am just a tiny bit short. So I add some more clear resin, and I think I'll probably get away with not actually adding any more black pigment because there's quite a bit still in the cup there. So I just stir in what is already there, try to scrape it off the sides and things and have a look at it. And I figure it'll be fine anyway because it's all going to merge into the black that I've already poured there. So let's see, have I made enough now? Let's get pouring nice and slowly. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Have I underdone it? Have I? Have I? Place your bets now. Tiny bit. A tiny bit. Trust me, I am hopeless at judging measurements and things like that. So this time I am going to have to add a tiny bit more black pigment paste because there's just not enough left in the cup. And I do pour in a little bit more than I think I'm going to need because we could be here all day at this rate. So I'm just putting a tiny touch on my stick and giving that a mix. Surely we've got enough this time. I did not too bad judging before. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Yay! I think these took about an extra 10 mils each maybe. So all in all, I reckon that, I can't remember, maybe about 30 to 35 mils these moulds take, which is just fantastic. They're really good moulds, economic with your resin, and they make great gifts. So, time to just put them to the side, let them fully cure overnight, and I'll see you in the morning. It is now the next day and these have fully cured, so it's time for the demoulding, my favourite part of any resin project. And from the outside it looks good. I've got a tiny little bit of overpour on the top of the mould there, but not much at all. And I'm not sure how easy these are going to come out. I've got water spray beside me just in case I need to give it a little squish with water. But I don't want to do that unless I have to, because they do become slippery little suckers. And it's not the first time that it's nearly shot away from me across the other side of the room. So as you can see here, I am basically just breaking the seal and then trying to fold the mould over on itself. I don't know how well it'll work because it is quite a narrow mould, but I'm going to give it a go. I would rather try and do it like this than get the water out if I don't have to. I will speed this up a bit here just to save you the agony of watching me. There's a little bit of overpour there that I'm just getting. And yeah, then let's see how it looks. By this point, the mould has pretty much turned outside in, which is actually really good. I'm just showing you there. Now I know that you can paint the inside of it if you want to with mica powders before you pour it. So yeah, I didn't think you'd be able to do that, but now I know you can. Anyway, I'm quickly turning it the right way out again, or the right way in, whatever way you want to look at it, just to protect the mould before we have a look at our little doggy. So there we go, the mould has gone back to normal. Yay, good as new. Let's have a look. I'm so excited. Drum roll. Yay! I know I'm looking at it before you, but how cute is this dog? He is adorable and I love the colour of him as well. And let's have a look. I like the little black bit at the bottom, and I love that you can see the whole of the dog in the gold first, and then it's just a little stopper bit that's in black. There are some very tiny micro bubbles there between the two layers, but nothing too bad. And where they are, you won't see them anyway. Other than that, I can't see any bubbles in this at all. I am so, so pleased with it. The ears are intact. Yay! It is all good. Right, let's have a look at the other one now. I've got no idea what this is going to be like because, like I said earlier, I've never tried to do anything like this, you know, just using little balls in a mould. So we'll see how that works out. I'll just take off this tiny bit of overpour at the top, and here we go again with the demoulding. And I know now I'm not going to need water, so it's all good, but I will speed this up again for you. Right, I'll put the dog to the side while I sort my mould again. It's always a good idea to sort your mould as quickly as possible, just to protect it. And again, it looks as good as new. Right, are we ready? Wow! Look at him! How cute is that? For my first time doing something like this, I love it. You can definitely still see that it's a dog. It doesn't look quite as shiny as the gold one, but you can definitely see the shape of the dog, and all those balls are so clear in there. Tiny, tiny bits of bubbles along there again, but other than that, look, there's balls in his paws. I know that sounds wrong, but yeah, I just love how it's worked out. No bubbles in the actual dog. This mould is fantastic. I am loving it. There is so much potential with these, and my imagination's working overtime. Again, I like just the black bit on the bottom, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. I love them. Let's have a look at the two of them together. Aren't they really cute? I'm sorry about the lighting, but they are absolutely brilliant. These are amazing for gifts for anybody who's a dog lover and a wine lover. Oh, there's so much you can do. Yay! So now I'm just taking a black acrylic paint marker and just going to draw in their eyes, just to give them a little bit of definition. And then we will have a proper look at them. Oh, we can't forget about the nose and the mouth as well. And there they are, the gorgeous pair. I love this mould. Thank you so much to Beebeecraft for sending me these free of charge. Again, the link will be in the description of the video, but these are super and I'm going to make loads of them, especially since they don't use a lot of resin. Yay, I'll try to get some other photos for you at the end of this, but in the meantime, if you've enjoyed this, please do hit the thumbs up button for me and talk to me in the comments below. Let me know what you think of them. Do you fancy giving these a try? I think you should. Bye!